Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, July 8th, 2021. Thursday, July 8th, 2021. Hey, Patty Lohman, good morning, my dear friend. How did the meal turn out last night? That food that you made looked so, yesterday that you made looked so beautiful. I have to show you something. I'm glad you're here. There's still a little bit, it wasn't floating, but it welcomed us. Even Lillian walked up to it, was like, hey, what's up? Hey, Rumi, still here. I think we could probably blow it up again. Does anyone have any congratulations coming up? We just, opened up here and then just blow a lot of hot air in there and bam! It is still, oh, I gotta do the, hold on. I have to edit the privacy, and it is public, and that goes there, and that goes there. Julie Luce, hey Jess, what's up? The balloon, I know, right? How long did that thing, it was up for easy 6 weeks, and it was still up when we left. And I didn't have high hopes that it would still be up, but I knew it would be still in the vicinity. So what's going on, Julie Luce? Where in the world? Dinner was great, good. Where in the world? Well, tonight I will be here in the kitchen with Vinny, which I'm excited about. I call him Vinny, he goes by Vinny. Vinny, sort of like Jeannie. I like to say Vinny. I'm so happy that dinner was great. We'll be talking tonight. He's a fabulous musician. He's a fabulous human being. I love him. He's my little brother, and I'm excited to have him on the show tonight. I saw him a couple of weeks ago in Ukiah. We hung out for a couple of hours, and we didn't get to play any music, but we will do that the next time. Yeah, where are my glasses? Here's the glass case. If they're not, as a friend of mine says, and I'm not doing so great on it right now, if they're not on your face, make sure they're in the case. So I'm not doing so great on that saying at the moment. But yeah, Vinny tonight, tomorrow morning, Armando. Tomorrow night will be interesting. I'm not sure where. I have to find out first if the show's going to be streamable. And then I'm going to, at 11:11 tomorrow night, probably drinking a stout. Maybe encore, maybe a stout. Stout encore. I'm not sure. And then Saturday morning, it's the art fair. So Krasl Art Fair, my favorite holiday, I will be there at 8:30 greeting. So if you are there at 8:30 in the morning, I'll see you. And then Jeff and I will do a quick, and then Saturday night, one more Saturday night with Gary Lambert. Sunday morning, we'll be chilling. Sunday night, musicians square table. Monday morning, we meander. Monday night, we meditate. Tuesday morning, we chill. Tuesday night, Dr. Andrew Rader. Wednesday morning, Patty, making and baking with Patty. Wednesday night, Shauna will be somewhere. So I don't think cookies and cocktails, unless somebody else wants to make cookies and cocktails for next week. Hint, hint. And then it's Thursday. And this Thursday, today, I have a super groovy being on the show. And his name is Brandon DeJanes. And he is the publicist, booking guy, overall, kind of makes things, he's my connection to the Livery, which is where we're playing tomorrow night. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to meet him now, Brandon DeJanes. Okay. There he is. The man behind the curtain. Hey, what's up?
Hey, Jenna, thanks for having me on this morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Are those actual CDs behind you?
Yeah, I'm kind of old school
All
in that
right.
regard, kind of upstairs in my man cave media room, so to speak. And yeah, starting when I was a young teenager, I would go to the pawn shop with my dad and my little brother, and for only a couple bucks, we pretty much loaded up on every CD we could imagine. We would sometimes just buy whatever they had, not even knowing what it was. So I've kind of amassed a collection of a couple thousand CDs, and now those things are kind of obsolete and retro. But I enjoy putting a CD in the car stereo and getting that full stereo sound, nice Bose system in there, and I still jam out the CDs.
Me too.
Although vinyl's making the comeback
Ah,
these days, and I got to say I'm kind of hooked on that too.
yeah. So you have a whole other wall of vinyl. There's an audio file on right now. Hey Bez. Bez is in Chicago. Do you have a wall of vinyl somewhere?
Actually, that's downstairs. We have our record player, and it's kind of a bookshelf that I've commandeered the middle section for all the vinyl, just so it's a little more accessible for the record player. And we've been listening to that quite a bit. So
Fun.
yeah, and you don't want to see my external hard drives with a few terabytes of downloaded music as well. So you know, I'm archaic in that regard. I know Spotify is great and everything, but sometimes it gets a little lost in the shuffle.
Who said it was great?
Spotify, okay, maybe not so much so for the artist, huh?
Hey, but it's great promotion.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually a band, Wolfpack. They're a Michigan band, self-promoted, no record label. They just sold out in Madison Square Garden, but they kind of found a fun little loophole with Spotify in that listen constitutes is I think 30 seconds on that track. So they made an entire album called Sleepify, and it was a frequency or vibration, if you will, that helps you kind of sleep and meditate. And they encouraged the fans to play it while they slept, and it was 30-second tracks of the album, and on repeat. They were, I think, able to raise like $40,000 and fund their entire first national tour, which I thought was wild. And those guys are just trailblazers. I don't think anyone else is still even doing that. I think Spotify kind of nipped that in the bud anyway, but
Oh yeah, they did. There was another company that was doing the same thing. That it you could just put it on repeat, repeat, repeat. And any streaming site figures that out probably in the first 3 months. Because I was on a streaming site like that, and I had an extra computer that I had it running, and a couple other people I know did too. But we did pretty well that way.
yeah,
But
I think
this
that's
weekend,
fair.
my
They're
next.
making way more than you guys ever, we'll see. So good, good.
So, do you play an instrument?
Oh man, what a loose term. I fumble around on some instruments. My mother was actually certified piano teacher, and so she would give piano lessons to students when I was little in the house. And she gave me some lessons up until about fifth grade, when I think it was a choice between sports and baseball, or sports and piano, and sports won out, needless to say. I kind of regret not sticking with the piano a little longer, but kind of gave me a rudimentary understanding of things, and reading music. And then my brother is self-taught on guitar, and I was kind of self-teaching bass. And again, it's one of those things that I just did not stick with, and here I am.
You're a sports guy. Were you a skateboard guy?
Yeah, I was about as good at skateboarding as I was piano. I still have some scars and scrapes to prove it. Um, I think biking was kind of the outdoor mode of transportation preferred, and still plenty of scrapes and scars from that too. But I was a baseball and soccer player. growing up, and that was kind of spring into summer, and then end of summer into fall. So it just kind of ate up your time, and the older you get, the more demanding the sports become. So
Where did you grow up?
I was born and raised in central Illinois, a little town called Pekin,
All right.
right across the river from Peoria, which is the bigger city down there in the heart of Illinois. Um, Moved up to Chicago in my late teens, early 20s, and then to Michigan about 10 years ago. So
How did you find Benton Harbor, Michigan?
long story short, I was actually living with a friend of mine up in the Flint area. We were kind of launching our own little production company, and dating my then girlfriend, now wife, who was living in Chicago, and she had a radius that she could live within Chicago of 125 miles and still work out of that office. So we kind of compromised and found this southwest corner, which had really good transit to Chicago with the South Shoreline, and still accessible for a nice drive in and drive out. So yeah, we kind of looked along the lake coast and settled here in Buchanan, actually.
Oh, yeah, Buchanan. I love
Yeah, a little
Buchanan.
bit,
I
about
love
20 minutes.
Buchanan. Such a cool.
Yeah, it's a nice town, and we got a nice little farm and two dogs and a little boy and another one on the way, or a little girl on the way, actually. So got the hands full. Oh,
This is the rowdy crowd.
they're cheering me. Like, what were you thinking?
Because the last time I performed at the Livery, you had just had a baby. Like you couldn't come to the gig because or maybe you stopped in or something. You literally, like, that week, your wife had the baby.
Yeah, I think that was coming up on 2 years. He's 2 in September, so it sounds about right. And it's been 16 months since we've hosted a show at the Livery, period. So it's going to be awesome to kick things off with you.
Is it the first show?
It is our first show back.
No way.
Yeah.
No way, dude.
I can't believe I didn't drum that up to you more, but yeah. First show back, they initially were saying it was probably going to be fall for the return of live music. And then the CDC's announcement of those that are vaccinated would not need masks. It kind of blew the doors off a lot of the benchmarks that Michigan had set. And so I think it was maybe late May that they said, hey, July 1st is going to be full capacity indoors. And then even that got bumped up 2 weeks. So yeah, it was a little bit of a scramble, and we didn't want to just kick things off out of the gate, July 1st, going into the 4th of July weekend. That's always a tricky holiday travel weekend. In the event that was the first weekend, there were some thoughts over everyone just kind of popping their corks, and, we wanted to let everyone kind of get that initial excitement out of their systems without trying to lump on a production calendar, so to speak. So we kind of strategically chose the 9th as the kickoff, knowing also that Krazel Art Fair on the Bluff was happening that weekend, which I know you've performed there. You're familiar with that crowd. So it kind of felt like holiday. It felt like the perfect storm after the holiday weekend with the art crowd in town. I've been actively trying to reschedule the artists that we've had to cancel on in 2020. That's been my number one priority, is to get those shows back on the books. Obviously, calendars sync up differently, and I guess just how the dice fell. Like I said, the perfect storm. We needed to get you back in. It seemed like the perfect weekend, and lo and behold, it's the kickoff as well. So
I had no idea. Do you know, I was, if not the first, like the first week of when the Livery opened, I performed there.
Yeah, I won't say what year that was. I know you just turned 30 last week, so I don't want to date you too much.
And there was no food there, but Piggin and Grinnin catered.
Oh yeah, Charlie's. Yeah, I think they're in St. Joe now, but wow, yeah, it's been a long road. I've been there for 7 years now, and it still feels like I'm ancient. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
wild.
it's a whole new, and things are different. Hey, Cordelia. So right now we have Ardmore, England, Los Angeles, Fresno, Chicago, Michigan, Illinois, St. Joseph,
Hometown.
and I don't know, some other people. You know, I was born in Benton Harbor,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that was a while ago. There is no hospital there anymore. It's just
I'm
Ertmont.
sure Benton Harbor itself has changed immensely since
Oh
you
yeah,
were born and raised there
I
in
was a
the town.
kid.
So,
It was popping. The movie theaters were there. You know, everyone always. My grandfather had Mamina's bar, a Chatterbox. Did you know that? My
yeah,
grandfather
yeah.
built. He built that,
Oh wow,
and
that's awesome.
my father and grandparents lived right across the street in Little Italy, and my dad worked in the Livery, is what they called it growing up. He worked there. He worked all over town. He worked every building around there. He had some kind of. I didn't forget Canada. I just hadn't seen you yet, Rob Morocco. What's up, Carol? Never do I forget Canada. So, yeah, so I'm, grandparents, great grandfather had a sandwich shop called the Atlas Sandwich Shop in Benton Harbor, and then my grandfather opened the bar, and my other uncles opened all four corners on Second, where Chatterbox is, were all
Okay,
Maminas. Four brothers had businesses.
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So let's talk about tomorrow night then. Oh my gosh, it's opening night for the livery.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It seems a little bit like the Twilight Zone. There for a while, it felt like there was no end in sight, and the situation seemed really dire. Um, it's just incredible how quickly things turned around, and it almost seems, in a sense, outside of this Delta variant, that we're at the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're kind of emerging from the darkness, if you will. It almost feels like that moment in The Wizard of Oz where, Dorothy's house is in the tornado and it lands in Oz, and then she opens the door and it goes from black and white to the Technicolor. You kind of step out into this, world that it's changed. It's a different world, this post-COVID thing, and we were trying to find that sense of normalcy within things, and I think music is a perfect not only coping mechanism but a celebration tool as well. So we're really excited to bring live music back to our stage and celebrate.
I think that's just so cool. How many bands? Sorry, how many bands? I mean, when you're trying to rebook people, are you having success with that? Is it been challenging?
Yeah, yeah. Even with the rebooking process and rescheduling process, it's far from haphazard in the sense that I'm not just trying to fill the calendar with the first band that has the first available date. I'm still being really cautious and cognizant, if you will, of the juxtaposition of the shows. I don't want to pit two similar artists back to back nights where we're trying to draw the same crowd back again. I want it to be fair for the artist and for our crowd. Play it on different notes, different genres. Sometimes, there's a different budget. If there's a high ticketed show one night, the next night maybe it's going to be detrimental to one show or the other. If there's two high ticket shows on the same weekend, we're a small venue, and we still like to have our local bands cut the teeth and build up to bigger performances. And then we have the established national touring artist, and we can charge tickets. So there's a balance to the calendar, a flow to the calendar. When things were canceled in March of 2020, I was booking out into the fall of 2020. So there was literally, the spring and summer that I had ready to rock, you were included in that. And, it's kind of like the rug being pulled out from under you. You look at your calendar and everything is, set for,
I'm getting a phone call. 1 second. Hello? Yes, may I call you back? Okay. 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 Bye.
I was trying to listen in there, but no luck.
It's a gig. It's a gig. It's a gig.
Oh, that's the best kind of call, right?
It's a nursing home in New Orleans because I just booked. I'm going to be performing during Jazz Fest, and
awesome.
So I have a nursing home where we're going to be doing some shows in the dementia unit. And I knew that she was going to be calling, but she said she was going to call at 10 minutes to 9, not at, or 10 minutes to noon, not at 11:33. So anyway, I'm sorry about that, but it was an important call that I needed to grab, and I don't normally answer the phone during an interview.
No problem. It felt natural.
Well, this is my kitchen, and I've been doing this for a few months now, like over a year. And I'm glad to have you on the show. So tomorrow night, what can people, the doors are, it's a later show. It's a 9 p.m. show because it's still light out at 9 o'clock. It's like,
yeah, as we were kind of saying before we went live, it's tough to compete with Mother Nature in the summertime. She's a very fierce competitor. Michigan, we're right there on the beach. We're known for our sunsets, which happen close to 10 o'clock, in midsummer here. So starting things earlier, we found, while it benefited some, it cut out a whole other, demographic of folks that would be barbecuing or out at the beach watching the sunsets. And then we're open until midnight as well. So we want to kind of keep folks in. As it shifts towards fall and winter, we do start shows earlier, and Mother Nature's not as fierce of a competitor at that time, but
different kind of competitor.
Yeah, there's kind of a flexibility or fluidity with the calendar there in that regard. So sorry, folks, if we're keeping you out past your bedtime. Doors are at 8.
People that are usually out, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm in bed by now. I'm like, it's Friday night.
Exactly. Live a little bit. We can find things to entertain you. Got some beer, some food, great music. It's a trifecta. So if there's any night to stretch that bedtime, I think tomorrow night's going to be a perfect excuse to do so. Only $10 in advance. What a steal!
And the doors open at 8.
Yeah. Yep. Doors at 8. If folks want to come early, our lower bar is going to be open for food and beer service. We have a big outdoor beer garden. Folks can come out and bring your pets and enjoy out there. And then doors open for the upstairs and the show at 8. And we couldn't be more excited to do that.
Well, it's an intimate group that I'm working with. My friend Tom Costanzo, who I met. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, cousin Johan. I met him a couple of years ago, and he happens to live directly across the street. Wow. So with Rolf not being able to tour, and choosing now still not to tour, which I'm totally respectful of, Tom's across the street, and we did our COVID concerts in the driveway, but I still haven't really I've done some gigs in California. When I was just there, I was on tour and I did 4 gigs while I was there, or 5, I think. And also an incredible drummer by the name of Keith Hall, who has played at the Livery as oh gosh, my brain just went. Gosh. Now I can't think of the name, but it's Martin, Matthew Freeze, Keith, and wow, my brain just went completely out the door.
It
Anyway,
must have been before my day.
they've been there too. So he knows the stage, but it'll be Tom's first time on stage at the Livery. So I'm excited to bring that together. And they've never played together. So it's going to be an exploration. It's not going to be a crazy loud rockin' night, but it's a way to ease in. Opening night at the Livery. Hey,
Yeah,
may I um put up a camera so that my friends here on 1111 with Jenna can watch the show?
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
So Chris Story will be there, my favorite sound engineer in all of the Midwest.
Yeah,
And
he's fantastic.
all
I'm
around.
shocked he's not been stolen from us and dragged out on tour with some band because
Oh,
he's fantastic.
oh, I've seen that happen. I've been on. I've worked at clubs where all of a sudden the engineer was like, "Where did he go? Oh, he went out on tour with, you know, whoever."
Yeah,
Big
it's not
people.
uncommon, you play a room and you like the sound, you like how you jive with the sound guy.
Yeah, and
That's
he's
kind of where you find the talent, right?
for sure. So did you eat breakfast yet?
If you consider 3 cups of coffee breakfast, yes, I chowed down.
How do you drink your coffee? How do you
um,
make your coffee? Beyond that, how do you make your coffee?
so we buy whole beans and grind and then percolate on the stove. We have well water here, so it's a hard water and it is a destroyer of coffee machines. No matter how vigilant you are with the vinegar cleanse, which I don't care for anyway. Um, we started percolating probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we love it. I think my favorite part of the morning is not so much even drinking the coffee itself; it's just grinding up the beans and getting that aroma. It's phenomenal. I don't think I would want to drink it any other way, actually.
And do you drink it straight? No sugar,
Yeah,
no.
sometimes when I'm pulling it right off the stove and it's piping hot, I might do like an ice cube or a cheater splash of milk just so I can slurp on the top layer without completely burning my tongue and mouth. Maybe a little bit of impatience plays into that decision, but yeah, usually it's just straight black coffee. And we usually source a single bean or a single source bean, so we know it's coming from this farm. It's organically sourced and fair trade. And we like to try a different bean each month. But I think I would say the Ethiopian beans have kind of been my favorite. It's like a medium lighter roast, but I think the flavor profile with like kind of the sweet berry and floral notes kind of strikes me, I guess, in my palate where I like it. I don't know how.
I think it's great. And are you a lunch guy or do you just throw back three more cups?
Yeah, no, I usually transition somewhere around. I actually stopped drinking coffee just before this interview. Um, Part of me wants another cup of coffee, but it's kind of approaching noon, and my stomach's kind of saying, "Hey, you should probably eat something." Lunchtime's usually finishing leftovers from dinner. I think spaghetti is waiting for me today.
Ooh. I love reheated pasta.
Yeah.
So do you work out of your home and were you working out of your home pre-COVID?
Yeah, so as the booking promotion guy, so to speak, I wear a few different hats. My job does afford me the luxury of working remotely. I'm doing our website, the social media, booking private events, booking our concert calendar, various other community interactions. So a lot of that is just wherever there's Wi-Fi or an internet source, even my phone, I can essentially answer emails, set up events, get things passed along to our team. And then when the actual events are happening, that's when I'm up there to help kind of load in and make sure that the production schedule is being followed, doors are open. I'll even work the door myself. Pre-COVID, well, really pre-baby, I was doing a lot of the bartending during the events. So, it was a lot of hustle and bustle for sure. I don't think I've been behind the bar in a couple of years now. But having
My
a
nephew
kid,
hangs out back there sometimes.
what's that?
My nephew hangs out back there sometimes.
Yeah, we do have Mr. Great guitar player and real estate agent.
Fourth generation bartender in Benton Harbor, Michigan, Mammina.
Yeah, you got to keep the tradition alive, right?
Is it the livery.com, livery.bentonharbor.com?
Liverybrew.com.
Not the, but Livery Brew.
Yep. www.liverybrew.com.
And as far as, let's just talk it for a second here, COVID, and you're trusting people are going to be vaccinated, you're not carding or doing any sort of anything.
Yeah, so we've followed the CDC guidelines the entire way. We trust in their word that the vaccination is successful, and we wouldn't have opened full capacity if we didn't feel that it was safe. And I don't think that those guidelines and restrictions would have been lifted unless they felt that the vaccination was effective. I know the Delta variant is lingering in the back of everyone's mind. So far, it seems that our county, our immediate area, has not seen any kind of effect from that. Very few hospitalizations. So, we feel really good with where things are at. Our staff are entirely vaccinated. I still will be wearing a face shield, and that's not just for COVID, it's for everything else that people are spreading around. We've all been kind of, holed up here and quarantined the last 16 months. I think our immune systems may be kind of like, oh, here's these germs that we used to just be in contact with every day. People spray talk. I spit when I talk, just out of courtesy. I think that aspect of, face shield is worth it, and having a 2-year-old at home, a pregnant wife. It's not just COVID. I would prefer that we just don't get sick at all. So
I've been wearing masks for 20 plus years on planes and trains and larger. I'll have a mask. I have the frame and everything. I just didn't get the plexiglass. I have a frame that I wanted to to sing in front of. I have one in California, but I didn't have one here. But I'm very careful. You have a baby I take care of and live with, and my mother, and I work with other elders, so I'm really careful because I want to be around them. And so I mask up, I cover, I stay away from people as far as that goes. And it's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, I kind of always saw the masks or the face shields or the plexiglass at our bar as kind of like the sneeze guard at a buffet. Right. I mean, it was just kind of a courtesy thing. I kind of was disappointed that it became such a hot topic, but it feels good to be, in the clear, at least in terms of the health guidelines. And
are the tables distanced at all, or do you not have to do that anymore?
Yeah, with the full capacity regulations being lifted and all that, we are kind of back to our normal, wow. Table outline, if you will, all the way up until now. Yeah, we absolutely had, limited capacity, distance tables. I think folks coming back into delivery will see very little change in our, service model and layout. We have upgraded a few things. We have table trackers that we're gonna debut here the next week. Essentially, it's a RFID chipped tracker. We can buzz people when their orders are ready, or if they just put it on their table, we actually have a map that kind of GPS guides us like a locator right to the table that the food's at. So that'll kind of help during concerts if people are moving around or it's really congested and busy. It'll help us find people, and then if we can, we can just buzz them and they come to the bar and grab their food from us. So little things like that. might be something new for guests. In our busing station, we don't have seats at the bar currently.
Oh, okay.
I think we kind of put more seats on the floor, and we wanted to keep the service lanes open. Understanding that there still are some folks that are not vaccinated, whether it's for their immunity reasons and health reasons. We still wanted to have the affordability to allow folks to keep themselves distanced while ordering. Still plexiglass up at the bar, just that sneeze guard type of mentality. And I think
We'll
it's
appreciate that in November.
what's that?
I said many will appreciate that in November.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just as we saw, the cold and flu season was kind of non-existent. It would be nice, in at least my opinion, to kind of see some of those health protocols be put to use just for public courtesy. And I think a lot of places are doing that anyway. And like you said, you've been traveling with masks, so that's nice.
And the other thing I like at restaurants, I haven't been in a restaurant, but I've sat in they have these little outdoor on the streets, and then they have, instead of menus, they have QR codes that you wave your magical phone over, and all of a sudden the menu appears on your phone.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We actually offered that at Livery. We had, there for a while, there was no indoor service. We had a lot of to-go orders, or our dine-in was an outdoor dine-in. So we had menu on the QR. You could place an order, and we would bring it out to the beer garden at the table. We could do a, contactless exchange. So that was kind of nice, to have the, technology on our side these days to make things happen like that.
Well, I'm really excited about tomorrow night. If people still want to get tickets, I know it's wide open, you guys. There's a lot of tickets left over. And after the show, if you want to post a couple of links, I posted a link to the actual to your website. But if there's any other information you want to post, please do. And I'm really psyched that you were here, and I'd love for you to come back, and maybe in the fall come back and we can talk about who's playing, what's happening, and how it's evolved.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks for having me on, Jenna. Really appreciate it.
Well,
really looking forward to see you in person. So
I'm so excited. Will I get to see you tomorrow night?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm probably gonna be working the door, so I'll be greeting everybody, and I'll be there when you load in.
Just a little heads up, it's Mitch's birthday tomorrow night, or tomorrow.
I don't want to embarrass him with any birthday spankings, but I might leave that up to you. Maybe, a set break, pull him on stage or something.
We'll do something. All right. Thanks a lot. Brandon, DeJanes or DeJames?
It's with an N, so DeJanes.
I thought so. I said DeJanes. I wanted to make sure. Brandon DeJanes, everybody.
I've heard it all.
I'm sure. Welcome to my world, right? Brendan, yeah, I'm sure. This show is here on Facebook. People watch it throughout the day, into the next day. And then my friend William Lindeman, who's working right now at his other job, takes the show and then posts them onto YouTube. So it will forever be out there. And so here's another blast to the Livery brew.
We're immortalized now.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye, folks.
See you tomorrow night. Ooh, thank you. Hold on. Hello? Yes? Oh, hi, Julie. I need to move to another place. Can you call me back in 1 minute? Okay, thank you. All right, bye. Guys, I gotta take that call. That's the woman setting up the cakes. So have a beautiful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, be nice. Brandon has a baby. Beautiful thoughts, bountiful words, and Booming heart. Mama Grace, I'll see you in a little bit. Everybody else, I'll see you tonight with Vinny and tomorrow morning with Armando, but tomorrow night at the Livery. See you then.
11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11. Who you gonna call right now? 11 with Jenna. With Jenna. 11 with Jenna. Right now. 11 with Jenna. With Jenna. It's 11. Who you gonna call right now?
Love hard. Thanks, Brandon. See you tonight, Vinny. Real hard.